you've got you work with blockchain, right?
That's correct.
And a stream, so you're creating a music streaming service?
We're in the process of building that proof of concept right now.
Yeah, just get into it and explain
Sure.
it.
I think ripping off the topic of paying musicians and being able to pay our artists the monies that they are due and the time lag that it usually takes for artists to get paid, which could be anywhere between 3 to 6 months after it goes through all variety of hands until the artists actually get paid. I do believe that with the advent of new technology and with blockchain technology, there's an opportunity for artists to be able to get paid every 24 hours, which is considerably different than the way that business is currently being run. There are platforms that we're building on our company called RChain, which would allow for artists to have a digital identity. That digital identity would be able to be for them to say they're the guitar player of this song, or the songwriter of that song, or the drummer of a track, similar to the metadata that Jaxis is being able to put together. But our focus right now is on the independent musician, those that are not signed, those that are not associated with the ASCAPs and BMIs, but those that are the millions upon millions of bedroom producers, high school and college students that are creating music, and artists that are able to sell between 250 to 500 tickets in their local markets. As the music industry is starting to shift, and the infrastructure that have been built over the last 10 decades they are great at what they have done, particularly in the arena of being able to build great superstar artists and be able to utilize the pipelines that are out there to get artists out there onto the radio and tour in big arenas with the Live Nations of the world. But underneath all of that, the artists that would be part of the long tail, the other, if you say there's 10 million artists that are out there, maybe 1,000 of them are actually making real money, and the remaining millions of other artists that are out there that are trying to establish a career. I believe that we're finding solutions for those artists to be paid properly with the powers of blockchain technology.
Very interesting, because having worked at ASCAP and the PROs for so many years, the ASCAP and BMI between them only have about probably about 1.4 million members right now. So how many of those get a royalty statement is very small based on the universe of writers out there. So it's an interesting concept. So you would be dealing with writers or artists, writers and artists who
Yes.
really are not members of the PROs or members of Sound Exchange?
We will integrate the back end for the PROs, but the first target is really going to be about the independent musicians that aren't signed up to any of those organizations.
Okay, and eventually, based on what your success, you would try to have a deal with the PROs.
Absolutely, since they all serve particularly the great function of being able to collect money from the world of radio and television and arenas, and an artist needs to get to a certain point where that actually is a reality, but for the vast majority of musicians, that is not a reality for them, that they can expect that they're going to get on a television show or on radio. Click on their name and go down the rabbit hole and discover how many albums that cowbell player was on, and find out all, it's the grand IMDb of information. That's the thing that we've really been lacking in the music industry, is the ability to be able to listen to an album and say, oh, I'm listening to Bob Marley and the Wailers, there's Aston Family and Man Barrett. How many other albums did he play on besides Bob Marley and the Wailers? And I should be able to click on a button and figure out every record that he's been on. I believe that through the power of smart contracts, we'll have the ability to be able to, number one, on a metadata level, identify all the musicians that are part of a song: guitarist, cowbell player, bass player, engineer, etc. Additionally, we'll be able to say, here are the songwriters. The two of us, Dick and I, collaborate on a song, we split it 50-50. And because of the ability for immediate accounting, we'll be able to say, well, why don't we just give 1% of the song to the guitar player? Why don't we give 1% of the song to your brother? Why don't we give 1% of the song to a nonprofit organization? And we can program into it that we want our brother to get that 1% for a period of a year, or we want to be able to put 10% of it towards my child's college fund. Or we can dictate onto that smart contract that we want to give 100% of the money during the month of October to Oxfam. And we can create rules as to how the monies are distributed around that virtual asset. In this instance, it's a song. For others, it might be video footage. For others, it might be video game assets. So what our focus is right now is on what we can do with music and how monies can be distributed through the monies that are generated from that asset, and who can get those monies during specific time periods, one starting with the primary songwriters, and number two with the collaborators, and three to those other entities that we want to donate or give money to.
So you would be who would you start off with? You'd be going to managers or lawyers with this? I'm trying to imagine going to all the bands I've known in my career, going to them and try to explain, well, maybe we'll give the guitar player 1% of something in the future. I don't think people are thinking that way. I mean, who do you present your whole scenario to? I mean, it sounds great.
Yeah, I think it starts off with the bedroom producer. And I think it starts off with the young people around the country that are not tied in directly to the music industry, but are creating tracks at home, and then they're able to decide how they want those monies to be distributed. And I think the market of targeting young people who are in college and in high school who would engage with the platform where they can discover new music and discover the music of their friends is the area that I'm focused on.